Welcome to this webinar on customer orders. This webinar is intended to give you a full picture of how customer orders are used within CounterAct. Let's start with a brief overview of what exactly they are and how they can help with the efficient processing of sales and stock ordering. Customer orders are designed for raising future sales, ordering specials, and dealing with part supply of orders. They are also often used as picking notes for all delivered sales. Used in this way, they are turned into delivery tickets once the delivery is ready to go out. Using customer orders is really key to staying on top of stock control. Within stock control, a product's stock position is updated depending on the customer orders for that product. This update takes account of both the customer order required date and the preferred supplier lead time. This is intended to help keep your stock ordering accurate and timely. When you look at a customer order itself, it will have a status. This status is designed to tell you information on the stock position for all items on the order, so that you know where you are, which orders you can currently fulfill, and for which orders you need to take action. To help further with stock ordering, when creating a customer order, your system can be set to offer the immediate opportunity to raise a purchase order for any items not currently in stock. These are known as back-to-back purchase orders and are linked to the initiating customer order. When receipting these items into stock, the system will alert you that there is a customer order to which these items are allocated. The ability to raise a back-to-back order is a salesman authority. Even if a back-to-back order has not been raised, when receipting in a normal purchase order, you can also be alerted that the items being receipted in are on existing customer orders, and details of those exact customer orders are displayed. The easiest way to show how these features work is to start by creating a customer order. You can create customer orders for both cash and account customers. We will raise one first for an account customer. To create a customer order for an account customer, use Sales Order Processing, Sales and Orders, and select an account sale. I will choose Delivered here. Add your customer details. On the Main tab, you can see that for a delivered sale, this system is set to default to customer order, so all I need to do is enter the required date and any other information needed. If on your system the default is Supply Now, then just select Customer Order and then enter the required date. Any other details on this screen can be filled in as needed. On the Items tab, I'm going to include items which are both in stock and out of stock, so that you can see how the customer order deals with both of these items. I will search for products using a name search, and double-click on the products I want to add to the order. You can see that selected products have two small asterisks next to them. The stock position of the items is shown as you add them, and you can also see the stock position at the bottom of the screen for the highlighted item. Click Save and Close when all details are correct. Then click OK on the Finishing Touches screen to complete the customer order. At this point, on most live systems, the customer order will print automatically. The option to raise any appropriate back-to-back purchase orders has now been offered. This is a control file setting, so contact Border Support if you would like to have this facility available on your system. The full details and options available when raising purchase orders is outside the scope of this webinar, So I'll just quickly work through raising the back-to-back order using all of the default information provided at this point. Clicking OK here takes you to a screen where you can raise purchase orders for any items needed to fulfill this customer order. A list of the products for which a purchase order is required, together with the preferred supplier for the products, is shown. We only have one product on this customer order which requires a purchase order, so I will click to create the order for that product. And I will click Create Order again on this screen. And similar messages are displayed as are displayed when raising a purchase order in Stock Control. Additional information can be added here to the purchase order if needed. Here I can amend the order so that, for example, anything else I might need from that supplier I can add to this order, or the purchase order value can be increased to meet carriage-free requirements. I will click No and move to raising the purchase order. One of the intended purposes of customer orders is to allow you to take an order for a special item. That is a non-price book product that you are ordering in specifically for an individual customer. So I'll work through that process here. I will start off the customer order for an account customer in the way just demonstrated. On the Items tab, I can choose New Special from the Product Search window. Then I'll enter details of the special product. Including the selling price and the cost price. Since a special doesn't have a price book code, you will need to enter the product group into which this product falls. This enables sales analysis data to include special sales in the correct product group. Click Save and Close, and OK on the Finishing Touches screen. The option to raise a back-to-back purchase order for this customer order is now offered. It's highly recommended that you use this option because then any special items receipted into stock are automatically allocated to the customer order to which they are linked. If you raise a purchase order for a special in the normal way, then that purchase order is not linked to a customer order. So you run the risk of specials being delivered by a supplier and it being difficult to find the originating customer order. Customer orders for cash customers usually involve taking deposits. So let's create a customer order for a cash customer and take a deposit. Use Sales Order Processing and select to do a cash sale. This system has the option of either trade or retail cash sales. Your system may be set so there is only one cash option. I will choose Retail and Delivered, and then enter the customer's details. I have the postcode lookup add-on on this system, so I'm going to use that to quickly enter a delivery address. Add some items, then click Save and Close. I can see at the top of the Finishing Touches screen the total value of this order, and the box with the deposit that I'm about to take is highlighted, ready for me to enter the deposit. Once I've done that, the total due now shows how much money I now need to take. So I will enter the method of payment, and click OK to complete the order. If any items have insufficient stock to fulfill this order, then the option of raising a back-to-back purchase order will be offered. It is possible to take a deposit ahead of creating a full customer order. The deposit can then be recalled and full details entered at a later stage. To take a deposit, use Sales and Orders and select Options. Use this option to take a deposit. Enter the customer details and the amount taken. You must enter a description at this point. This will appear as a text line in the customer order when you recall it to complete it. It's worth noting that you can also add an additional deposit to an existing customer order using this function. Click OK to complete. A customer order has now been created. You can see the order number here. To recall the customer order, choose Sales and Orders, Options, and recall the customer order. You can use the order number or the customer name. The Items tab displays the description entered when the deposit was taken. You can now just complete all relevant details on this order as shown in the previous sections of this webinar. There are a number of reports and display facilities designed to allow you to manage your customer orders. I'll run through each of these in turn. The Display Customer Order function allows you to see full details of a selected customer order. It's usually found in the Sales Order Processing Inquiries menu. First, search for the order required by account or cash customer name or order number. I'm going to look for an account customer by name. Now I can see a list of all the customer orders currently on the system for that customer. Every customer order will have a status. The status tells you important information about the stock position on that customer order, and hence what needs to be done so that you can fulfill that order. A new order is one where you don't have some items on the order in stock, and you haven't yet placed a purchase order for them. So a new status on an order is an important indicator that you really need to take some action. An unavailable order is one where some items aren't yet in stock, although you have placed a purchase order. They just haven't arrived from the supplier yet. An available order is one where all goods are available to go to the customer right now. Double-click to open up the order you'd like to look at, and use the tabs to find different types of information about the order. The Items tab will show you all of the items on the order. And the Outstanding tab shows you the stock position for each product. At the end of each line you can see the item's stock status. And by selecting Display Stock at the bottom of the screen you can see detailed stock figures. In this alternative example, you can see that additional information about ordering is shown here whenever that's relevant. From within Sales Order Processing, Sales and Orders, Options, a salesperson can choose to view all of their outstanding customer orders. The Quick View option displays the products on whichever order is highlighted in the list behind. Use the arrow keys on the keyboard to move up and down the list. Double-clicking on any order in the list allows you to drill down into the customer order using the Display Customer Order function. The Customer Order WIP report is usually found in the Sales Order Processing Inquiries menu. It's designed to give an efficient way of reporting on all of your customer orders. Keeping on top of customer orders is important if you are to keep your stock position accurate and to allow the recommended ordering facility on CounterAct to work effectively. There are numerous options within the report so that you can tailor it to see exactly the information you need. The report itself can be viewed in a number of ways. As a text report, it can be exported to Excel, or you can view it as a screen inquiry. One of the benefits of a screen inquiry is that it allows you to drill down into the customer order using the Display Customer Order function. And that lets you see all of the details of the customer order from within the WIP report itself. If you select a text report or an Excel extract, then you can choose a summary report. This lists basic information for each order, including the selected report and deposit values with overall totals. If you choose a detailed report, this also lists the products to be supplied on each order. You can sequence your report by any of these options here. The report can be based on selected parameters. For example, you can produce a report based on dates required, dates customer orders were placed. You can just report on customer orders for certain customers, or only on customer orders which have certain products on them. You can produce a report by salesman, or sale type, or on any of the relevant analysis codes defined on your system. You can filter the report to show only those customer orders with a certain status. Just to recap on the meaning of each status. Current is any order not completed or cancelled. New is an order where goods need to be ordered from a supplier, so action needs to be taken for new orders. Goods unavailable are orders where one or more products have yet to arrive from a supplier. And goods available are orders where all goods are available to go to the customer. Finally, you can choose which value to report on. The newly available customer orders report will give a list of those orders which have become available within the last 24 hours. It's usually found within the Sales Order Processing Inquiries menu. The Stock Exception Report gives customer order details useful for effective stock control. It's usually found in the Stock Control Inquiries menu. The report can be a text report or extracted to Excel. Choose a date range. By default, the report will return the overnight stock exception reports set on your system. To select a specific report, click in the selection box, then choose Selected Exception Reports. A list of all the selected exception reports is then shown. This is the list of your overnight stock exception reports. Click in the box and a full list of every report available is displayed. Those highlighted in blue are your overnights. There are a number of reports relating to customer orders here. Click on any report to select it. To choose more than one report, hold down the Control key when making your selections, or hold down the Shift key and click on a first and a last report to choose all the reports between them. Click OK to view the reports. CounterAct can be set to automatically produce reports overnight and email them to you so that you have them to hand first thing in the morning. Reports relating to customer orders which can be set up as overnights are detailed here. Just contact Border Support if you wish to discuss setting up any overnight reports. Customer orders are reflected in the figures shown in Stock Display. Stock Display can be accessed from within Stock Control, Inquiries, as shown here. But you can also access Stock Display from within a sales ticket. I will just search for a particular product using parts of its name. On the main tab, you can see summary information about this product's stock position, and there's also information about the customer orders on the system for this product. We'll come back to this screen in a minute. Firstly, if we select the Orders tab, we can see all of the customer orders which contain this product. This customer order needs 2 of this item to fulfill it, and it has a back-to-back purchase order raised for these 2 items. These 2 items are therefore allocated to this customer order. I can also see that 3 items are reserved for this customer order. This is because the required date on this order is earlier than the lead time for the preferred supplier. This is stock which you really should not sell, because you can't get any more from your preferred supplier in time to fulfill this customer order. The last customer order requires 1 item to fulfill it. This item has not been reserved, and this is because the required date is later than the lead time for the product. So if you place a purchase order today, you could get some of the product in time to meet this existing customer order. At the bottom of this screen, you can see any outstanding purchase orders for the product. Now let's go back to the main screen to see how this information is summarized. So, there are 2 items in stock, i.e. there are currently 2 items on the yard, and there are 6 items needed to fulfill existing customer orders. Here are the 2 items allocated to a specific customer order, because they were ordered in on a back-to-back purchase order specially for this customer. The 3 in the reserved column tells you that you need 3 items to fulfill customer orders inside of the supplier lead time. So this is stock on top of allocated stock, which you should have and really should not sell, because you need it to meet existing customer orders. You can see that the reserved stock for this item is greater than the actual total. So this is telling me that I need to get some stock in faster than the normal lead time if I'm going to fulfill all of my existing orders by their required dates. So that's 5 of the items on customer order accounted for. But here you can see I've got 6 on customer orders. So after taking care of allocated and reserved, I still need to order in another 1 to meet the final customer order required outside normal lead time. And the normal lead time with my preferred supplier is shown here. We will now recall an account customer order and convert it into an advice note. Use Sales Order Processing, Options, and Option 2 to recall the customer order. Search for the customer order using customer name or order number. Select the order you require from the list shown. In this case, I would like to supply the order in full, so I will choose to recall all items on the order by clicking Yes here. If you want to part supply the order, it may be quicker to choose the items you want to supply from a list, which is why this option is here. We will cover part supply of orders in a later section of this webinar. Check the customer and delivery details, and then go to the main tab and click on Supply Now. If the required date of the order was for today's date or a date already passed, then Supply Now would have been selected automatically. Check all of the items on the order, then click Save and Close to complete the order and produce an advice note. At this point, the items on the order will have been taken out of stock on CounterAct. It's worth noting here that delivered customer orders can be released a number at a time using the Release Delivery Notes function, which is usually found within the Sales Order Processing Administration menu. Details of that function are covered on another video. We will now convert a cash customer order into a sale. Using Sales Order Processing, option 2, search for the customer order using the cash customer's name or the order number. On the Main tab, set the order to Supply Now and then check that the item details are correct. Save and close to get to the Finishing Touches screen. Here you can see that the deposit originally taken is being allowed against the sale. There is still an outstanding amount owed on this particular sale, which you can see in the Total Due box. Enter the method of payment for the total due and click OK to complete the sale. At this point, an invoice for the sale would be printed, and the items would come out of stock on the system. If no additional payment is taken at this point, and I will delete the payment method details just entered to demonstrate that, then when you click Save and Close, the amount outstanding will be converted into a cash on delivery sale, if CODs are allowed on your system. A COD invoice for the outstanding amount would then be printed, and the items would again come out of stock. Additional details about managing deposits are covered in later sections of this webinar. When converting a customer order into a sale, you can part supply that customer order and leave the rest to follow at a later date. You can also override stock control. You might want to do this, for example, if goods have arrived from the supplier but haven't yet been receipted into CounterAct. So CounterAct will think that you don't have those items in stock, but you know that you do, and you want to get them to the customer immediately rather than wait for them to be receipted in first. Recall a customer order as shown before. If you want to part supply the order and it's a long order, then it may be quicker to choose the items you want to supply from a list, and CounterAct will keep any items not chosen on the original customer order. If you do choose yes to recall all items on the order, then any that you don't want supply now, you have to zero. I'll demonstrate this option first. On the Main tab, set the customer order to Supply Now. On the Items tab, highlight an item which is to be delivered now, and then click on More Features. Select Override Stock, and then choose Enter Supply Order Quantities. The total quantity of the item on the order is shown. If you want to supply less than this, then just enter the quantity to be supplied now. Repeat for any other items which are to be supplied now. This item is showing as out of stock, but if you know that you actually have some in stock and want to supply it now, then highlight it and again select More Features. Click on Override Stock and choose Force Sale. When all details are correct, then click Save and Close to complete the sale. This will produce an advice note for the items chosen as Supply Now, and those items are now taken from stock on the system. The items not supplied will remain on the original customer order, which can be recalled again at a later date, whenever some or all of the remaining items are to be supplied. Just to show every option, if I recall a customer order and choose to select items from list, then a list of all the outstanding items on the customer order is shown. Double-click on those you'd like to supply now. You can see that selected items have two small asterisks at the front of the line. The order will now be shown. First, set it to Supply Now on the Main tab, and then check the items on the Items tab are those to be supplied. If for some of these items you don't want to supply the full quantity shown here, then just select More Features, Override Stock, and enter Supply Order Quantities. Then enter the quantity to supply now. Click Save and Close to complete the sale. Part supplying or forcing the sale on a cash customer order is done in exactly the same way as for an account customer order. However, if you have taken a deposit against the customer order, then there is a lot of flexibility on how you manage that deposit when you come to the Finishing Touches screen. So we will go straight to that screen and work through the various options. In this example, the deposit taken was for the full value of the order, and so the amount needed to cover the goods being supplied now has automatically been allowed to cover the sale. However, in this example, a deposit of £500 has been taken, which doesn't cover the cost of the goods being supplied now. You can choose how much of this deposit to allow and how much extra deposit to take to cover this sale as shown. I'll work through the options available from here. Firstly, if I allow none of the original deposit, then the total due for this sale becomes the full amount of the sale, and you enter the payment details as usual. I'll now delete these values, and this time if I allow £200 of the original deposit, then the total due now for this sale is calculated, and I can enter payment details for that in the usual way. I'll now delete these values. Finally, if the deposit allowed doesn't cover the sale, then when I click OK, the system assumes that this is a cash on delivery sale and will print appropriate documents for that type of sale. To refund deposits or cancel customer orders, use Sales Order Processing, Administration, Maintain Customer Orders. If you have a multi-branch system, you may also have a company Maintain Customer Order function available. This works in the same way as Maintain Customer Orders, but will allow you to access customer orders in other branches. I will open up Maintain Customer Orders. Search for the customer orders using account or cash customer name or order number. Double-click to view the customer order. Use the tabs to find the information you need, and it's also worth noting that details of the deposit history are shown here. You can reprint the customer order from this screen if needed. Closing here returns to the main screen. From this main screen you can refund all or part of deposits. Enter the value refunded in the payment table to show exactly how the refund was made. To cancel the order, click here. If you have to cancel the order before refunding the deposit, as I have done here, then you can return to Maintain Customer Orders, find the order and refund at a later date. Enter a reason for the cancellation and click OK. You can now see in this screen that the order has been cancelled. Cancelling customer orders which contain a special could potentially cause issues, since if a back-to-back purchase order had been raised for the special, you could end up with a special in stock with no outstanding customer order against it. To help prevent this, The ability to cancel a customer order with a special on it is a salesman permission, so that you can restrict who is able to do this. Thank you for taking the time to watch this webinar. We hope that you found it useful and informative. If you would like to discuss any of the information presented here further, then please contact the Border Support Team.